let's have a look at the object itself. So let me ask you some questions about it. Do you think it's a small thing or do you think it's a large thing? Do you think it would be heavy or do you think it would be light if you were to pick it up? And what do you think it might be made of? There's actually something interesting about it, because does it look like it's all there or does it look like it's complete? If you look really closely, there actually looks like there's a difference on one side to the other with what it's made of. And the last thing I want to know is it decorated or is it not? What you might say it is. So let's see if we can look on this label and see if we know what the number is for this object that we're going to have a look at. Can you see what it is? Excellent. There's a few other things on the label that are quite interesting as well. One part's right at the bottom and it actually talks about the date. So here's a few questions. Do you know if we are in BC or AD now? Do you know what year it is now? Excellent. Let's see on the label if we can see what it says the year is for this object. So now we've got to do a bit of mathematics, because it's at about 1000 BC and we've worked out we're around about 2000 AD or Common Era. So that means we've got to add 1000 and 2000, and that's going to tell us around about how old this is. I'm sure you've worked it out. There's one other thing on the label that I want to show you about, and that's right at the top. And it says the words, the letters, let's see if we can read them, G-U-R-O-B. And I don't expect you to probably know necessarily, but it's the place that they found this object. It's Garob. Let's have a look at a little bit more at the decoration. So there's a part in the middle, if you were to describe what the decoration looks like, and then there's 3 ovals on there, and then there's symbols, and I'm sure you know the name of what those are. We were talking about them earlier. They're hieroglyphs. All right, so let's have a look at those ovals. Have you ever heard of the name of what those ovals are? It's a bit like this, ring. It's called a cartouche. And special people have their names put inside cartouches. Can you think who those special people might be? And in fact, on this pot, we have those cartouches, those names of a special person. The king, exactly. But there's also someone else on this pot here. And this here is one of these cartouches. And you can see there's a bit of a hint here that it's someone's name. Come and have a look a bit closer at this and see if there's something on here that might show you that it's not the king's name. Is there something you can point to that might show that? Exactly, it's this symbol. And it's showing that it's a queen's name. It's a queen determinative. It's there as a picture to say, hey, I'm the name of a queen, not the name of a king. So can you see some interesting things about the way I've got the cartouche here and how it is on the pot? Is it a bit different? Because on the pot, it's more facing up and down, vertical, like this. But on mine, I've tipped it to the side, but the symbols are the right way around. And this is something that's really special about hieroglyphs, because they can be written side to side or horizontal, and they can also be written vertically. And there's a difference with the way you read them as well. Have a look up here, and we've got a sign that's written in English and in Arabic. So can you think about the way when you read, whether you read from right to left or left to right? English goes one way, but Arabic, when you read it, not that I can read it, but I just know this, goes the other way. And hieroglyphs are like that as well. They can go right to left and left to right. There's a bit of a hint here about which way it starts. And that's because we've got a person, or it could be an animal, or any symbol like that. It looks the way it starts. So this one's going to go from the left to the right. Let's have a look at the pot again. See if you can tell me which cartouche is this one that I've got pictured. Is it the one on the right, or the middle, or the one on the left? Have a look at my picture again. It might help you to see which one it is. I want to see if you can help me now, because I've actually got all the hieroglyphs here, but unfortunately someone's dropped them and put them out of order. So I need to see if you can help me take these individual hieroglyphs and move them across so as we can reconstruct the cartouches that are on the pot. And then after that, I've got a key about what they mean. Come in and have a look, and we'll see if we can work out what the different cartouches mean. Let's have a look if we can see what the names mean. So let's have a look at this one first, because it's maybe shorter. So if we look on the key, we've got Ra, manifestations, Lord. Ra is one of the gods of Egypt. Manifestations we'll come back to, Lord. So let's see if we can put it in a way that makes more sense. If we said Lord of the manifestations of Ra, so the Pharaoh's saying a bit like the Lord who is like the god. So he's likening himself to the god. I think it probably makes a little bit more sense. There's a special reason that Ra, the god, is in the first place in the hieroglyphs, but it isn't when we say it. And it's exactly because the god is considered to be the god or special, and it's something called honorific transposition. Don't worry about it. It basically means that they put the god first because it's special. Remember that though, because it might help with the next one. So let's have a look at this one. Now if we look from the key, we've got Amon, Ankh, life, and image. So Amon, living image. Let's see if it's the same as over here, because Amon is also one of the gods. So let's put that in a different place when we work out what it means. So if we say the living image of Amon, that probably makes more sense. So it's a similar thing, saying that he was like one of the gods. This part down the bottom probably isn't quite so tricky, because we've got the ruler of Upper Heliopolis. You might want to look up where Heliopolis is though. It's a place in Egypt. Now, I've got one last thing to ask you about. Do you know who this pharaoh is, who's on the pot? the Lord of the Manifestations of Ra being one of his names, and the living image of Ammon, ruler of Upper Heliopolis. If you looked on the label, you might have got a clue as to who it is. But here's a good trick. Can you speak ancient Egyptian? I bet you can more than you think you can, because let's have a look at this part of the name. Tut Ankh Amun. If you say it a little quick, it sounds like someone you might know. You see if you can work it out.